Right now, there's an extremely interesting lawsuit going on between Activision and Anthony Fantano of The Needle Drop, the internet's busiest music nerd. And it's a real eyebrow raiser, I'll tell you what. For starters, most of these publications refer to Fantano as a TikTok music critic. That's the most disrespectful shit ever. That's like cheerleaders laughing at you right to your face, pulling your pants down. Like, that's so embarrassing to get labeled that. They're spitting on him. Fantano's been on the internet long before TikTok ever even existed as an idea, so I'd have to give those headlines a light too. But anyway, when reading those headlines, what I expected in this story was Activision being 100% in the wrong and bullying a creator because they are a company known for shady, awful, garbage, horrible, horrible things, as well as being unbelievably greedy. So I thought this would be a case of that, them strong-arming a creator and wiping their ass with their face. But after reading through the actual lawsuit and going over the case, it's super weird because Activision is still a supervillain, greedy, evil corporation, but the argument they're making in this lawsuit is actually one that helps normal TikTok users. I want to make it clear right away, I am not a fan of Activision. You certainly won't find me pumping my fist for that company. I am no Activision enthusiast. I am, however, an Anthony Fantano fan. So this was a really weird case because I don't see how Anthony Fantano could possibly argue his side. Melon magic can only go so far, and in this case, I don't think it'll be far enough. And if Anthony Fantano did somehow win, it could open the door to large-scale exploitation of a system a lot of normal TikTok users rely on. And I'll explain what I mean in a moment. And I want to be clear right now, Anthony Fantano has not spoke his piece on the subject yet, probably because it's a very touchy legal matter, so it'd be very difficult to speak on it. So I can only really give you the perspective of what's been laid out so far, and maybe that'll be subject to change as it continues, but basically right now, Anthony Fantano had a very popular meme of him go viral called Enough Slices. It's a meme that's been used endlessly on TikTok. It's become a very popular meme. And Activision recently used it in an advertisement they made for Crash Bandicoot on TikTok. And Anthony Fantano allegedly cease and desisted them, to which they complied and took down the video. But then, according to Activision, Anthony Fantano reached back out and said that they're going to be required to pay a substantial amount of money in damages for using his intellectual property, basically, that meme. And they said, no sir, we're not playing ball here. That's not a game of foosball we're interested in engaging in. So they are countersuing Anthony Fantano and looking for a declaratory ruling that states that he will no longer be allowed to try and get money out of users or companies that use his meme clip because they say that Enough Slices meme was knowingly entered into the commercial sounds library on TikTok. Now, most of you have probably already activated your super sniffer and smelled a little something fishy here because there is a big difference between a normal TikTok user, fucking Cliff Blast Cleaver using Anthony Fantano's Enough Slices meme for a goofy little TikTok he made, and a company like Activision using a meme he made to sell a product. They're very different. It wouldn't be unheard of to be okay with a normal person using your meme and not being okay when it's a company using it to sell a product that you don't agree with and you don't like. And that's a fundamental right that you have, that your likeness can't just be manipulated and used to mislead consumers or something into believing that you support a product that you don't. And this is what makes the case really interesting because in here, what they used was a meme from Anthony Fantano that they are arguing was opted into a program called the Commercial Sound Library. And in the Commercial Sound Library's terms, it very clearly states that when you opt in here, when it is part of this directory, that it is completely fair game for companies, brands, advertising partners, and normal users to use for any and all purposes whatsoever, which does include paid content and advertisements. Now, since the ad was deleted, I'm unsure if they used Anthony Fantano's actual video clip that has his face in it, or if it was just the audio. I'm really not sure. But even still, the meme itself was uploaded, apparently, to this Commercial Sounds library, so Activision's argument is that he can't just selectively enforce who is and who isn't allowed to use that meme, because it has been uploaded to the Commercial Sounds library, allegedly. He can't just revoke permission for people that he doesn't like or brands that he doesn't support. That's the core of their argument. They're also claiming that this is overt gamesmanship, a nefarious money-making scheme from Fantano, where he'll allow some people to use it, but when he sees that there's a financial opportunity to make money from it, then he strikes and pounces on it and tries to threaten for money in return for the use of the meme clip. According to Activision, he's stated that he's done this before to a couple of other organizations, I suppose, to which they have complied, but Activision isn't going to. They are arguing he doesn't have the legal grounds to do that. He can't just selectively enforce who's allowed to use that when he has knowingly uploaded it to a directory that has a blanket use for everyone for any purpose whatsoever. And it extends to normal users too, and this is what I was saying a bit earlier, where this argument from Activision is actually helpful to normal TikTok users because normal TikTok users often rely on the commercial sound library in their content, and by their own terms, it should be safe for them to use. But if Anthony Fantano does squeak out the W here, the big dubski, it would kind of throw that into turmoil where you wouldn't feel comfortable using the commercial sound library anymore because there could be a bad actor that has swooped in to exploit it, where you might use one of their memes and they'll sue you for it or demand compensation for it even though it was uploaded to the commercial sound library. So like if Sally Strawberry taps into a popular meme and the user's like, damn, that content was fucking cheeks, that was some turbo ass, I want money because you used it, then it would be a lot scarier. Now, obviously, Activision isn't making this argument for the better of the platform. They're arguing in their own selfish interests, but what they're arguing does actually extend to help protect normal users if Activision wins. I've seen a lot of discussion on this topic, and it seems it's all hyper-focused on brand versus creator, which I do understand. A lot of the claims are around brands trying to exploit creators and use their likeness to mislead consumers through advertisements and falsely label support where there is none. Like, I do get that angle, but this case is not specific to just that. If it was, I wouldn't really give a fuck. My heart's not exactly breaking or shedding any tears because brands might not be able to use TikTok memes. That's not a big deal to me. It's just simply, this was in the Creative Sound library, and there is a potential that it wasn't uploaded by Anthony Fantano with his knowledge. There is definitely wiggle room that maybe there was some kind of automatic inclusion in there that he didn't consent to. That is possible, and that would be a core component of this case that would be very, very interesting if that's the truth. But since it is there, and it does clearly state brands can use it for any purpose, then if the rules against them, it means that no one can really use it for any purpose because all of a sudden it's now unsafe. This is just one of those things where I do think there's a potential for a dangerous precedent being set where if someone knowingly uploads something to the commercial sound library, which obviously states that it can be used by anyone, including brands, for any purpose, you really shouldn't have the right or ability to start attacking selectively and threatening people for money because that extends beyond just brands. That extends to literally any user ever. What's to stop me from uploading tons of audio and sounds and shit to the commercial sound library as bait, and then just going around cease and desisting and demanding money from people that use it because they were under the impression that it was safe to use? It's one of those things that exists on other platforms as well. Like YouTube has one for music. It's the Common Music Library or something like that, where artists knowingly post songs that are DMCA free for creators to use. You know, they just choose the music and it's totally fine, there's no problems. But what if an artist said, you know what, I'm going to put music on here and when a popular YouTuber uses it, I'm going to demand money from it, even though it's uploaded to a service that states that it's, you know, okay to use and there will be no problems with it. It's one of those things where these directories exist on other platforms like YouTube and Twitch, and if all of a sudden people are able to put things on there as kind of like a trap where you use it and then you could potentially face like a lawsuit or something, it's just bad for everybody, not just brands. And according to a lawyer named Richard Hogue, he believes the company has a decent case. Basically, he says, as described by Activision, it would seem they have a good case. The TikTok audio library appears to allow for general commercial use on TikTok, so anyone placing content in the library should be limited in their rights to challenge. That said, there could still be facts we don't know, like whether an unauthorized third party actually affected the sound's inclusion or even where it might have been automated. So fundamentally, the entire case is going to have to be argued on Fantano's side that he was not the one that put it in the commercial sounds library. At least that's my understanding of it, because again, it is entered in there apparently, and since it's there, it means any brand, company, or user can use it without consequence. It's fair game, you know? It's open season on enough slices. So Activision saying, since that's the case, Anthony Fantano can't try and threaten them for money because they used it. And Activision is seeking a declaratory ruling that will prevent not only Anthony Fantano, but anyone on the platform, any kind of bad actor perhaps, that might come forward to try and extort money out of users that use content from the commercial sound library, when it's totally in their right to use that content. The only thing that can really win this for Anthony Fantano, I think, is if he can prove that he wasn't the one who opted into the commercial sound library for the Enough Slices clip. It was some kind of third party that automatically entered it in there without his knowledge, or it was, you know, a fucking burglar broke in and in the middle of the night uploaded the Enough Slices audio or meme clip to the commercial sounds library. I feel like that's the only thing in this case, but even then, I still don't know how liable Activision would be for damages, because it's not like they would know that it wasn't Anthony Fantano that uploaded it. It's there, thus you would work under the assumption that the user is the one that put it there. So the whole case is just really messy, and it really fucking sucks because I very much dislike Activision. I really fucking do. But here, I just don't really see how Anthony Fantano has a good argument in this case. I'm going to go ahead and just play all the stream clips where I went through this from the very beginning here so you can kind of follow along with the entire story. I kind of just broke it down here in the beginning, but in the stream clips you'll get to get the entire, you know, situation. So I'll just go ahead and let that rip. The game company claims Anthony Fantano is misusing intellectual property laws by threatening to sue TikTokers over a widely memed audio clip. Video game giant Activision is suing a prominent TikTok music critic over a viral audio clip that he created, claiming he is unfairly demanding that some of the social media users pay him an extortionate settlement after they reused the heavily memed clip. In a complaint filed Monday in California, Activision accused Anthony Fantano of misusing intellectual property laws by threatening to selectively sue TikTokers who use Enough Slices, a popular audio clip that originated with a video Fantano posted in 2021. Activision, which says it received such a threat after it used the clip in a promotion for its Crash Bandicoot franchise, claims that Fantano intentionally made the clip available through TikTok's audio library, meaning he cannot now sue the hundreds of thousands of users that choose to use it. This dispute is a textbook example of how intellectual property law can be misused by individuals to leverage unfair cash payments, Activision's lawyer wrote. Fantano was very happy to receive the benefit of the public use of the Slices video. It was only after he identified a financial opportunity, namely receiving unjustified settlement payments, that he suddenly decided that his consent was limited. This law does not permit, and the court should not countenance such overt gamesmanship. That is interesting. If you make something available through the TikTok audio library, I'm very unfamiliar with the platform, does that just waive your right to enforce, like, IP law on it? Probably. Makes sense. It's like a public audio repository. Well, what I want to know, if on TikTok, do things just enter the TikTok's audio library by default just by posting? Because I know they have that, like, original sound shit and it goes to the source and it's like fucking Bumblefuck Joe over here is the one that created it. But it's not like he did it on his own accord. TikTok auto-generated it. At least I think that's how it works, right? You have to make it a sound through a video. Oh, so you do have to, like, say, I want this in the audio library by making it a sound. That's a very interesting case. So has Fantano done this to other TikTok creators, or is it just Activision? And if it is other creators and not just Activision, I wonder what the legal ground is for using it in an official ad. Because it'd be different if it's just like, you know, fucking Carl Hamburger using Anthony Fantano's meme in a TikTok versus Activision using it in an official ad. Only way I think Fantano has a case is if someone else uploaded his video audio to the library. True. In its lawsuit, Activision says there's an obvious reason why this clip was used so widely. Fantano deliberately and knowingly added the audio to TikTok's library, making it easily available for millions of other users to incorporate into their own videos. They say he even opted into the commercial sounds library, which means he agreed his clip could be legally used in promotional videos and brands. That sounds like a dagger if that's true. That sounds like it's open and shut if that's the case, if that's real. If he opted into the commercial sounds, that seems like he waived all rights on that. I don't know how he'd win this case. The company says it was surprised when it received a legal threat from Fantano after it used enough slices in a TikTok video depicting the creation of custom Crash Bandicoot sneakers. He allegedly told the gaming giant the use of his clip not only used his name and likeness rights without permission, but also violated federal trademark laws by suggesting he had endorsed the company's games. Which is a real thing. You can't do that. But if it was made readily available on the commercial sounds library, I don't know how you're supposed to argue that you didn't give your permission. That's what this is for, I imagine. This is what it's for on every other platform. Maybe it's different on TikTok. Activision says it agreed to pull the clip down, but Fantano demanded the company either immediately pay him substantial monetary damages or be prepared to defend a lawsuit. The exact amount of money demanded was not included in the lawsuit, but Activision says Fantano asked for a six-figure sum and said that other companies had paid a similar sum in order to avoid the expense of litigation. What the fuck? On his Dr. Evil grind, $1 billion. Hey, I'm always rooting for the little guy here. I don't know how you're supposed to somehow argue that what they did is illegal and violated federal trademark laws if it was knowingly agreed upon to enter the commercial sounds library. That seems like it's an uphill battle, but I mean, that maybe there's more to it. This is right now just Activision's lawyer. With Fantano's approval and encouragement, hundreds of thousands of TikTok users have incorporated Slice's audio into their videos over the past 2 years. But now, Fantano has embarked on a scheme whereby he selectively threatens to sue certain users of the Slice's audio unless they pay him extortionate amounts of money for their alleged use. The commercial music library from the TikTok's ad manager. Let's see. In order to get it there, it's called Commercial Sounds. Even in the own post, Commercial Sounds. But it's listed as the commercial music library. Okay, I see. So this is it. This is correct. CML features commercial sounds, both with and without lyrics, whatever. Who can use the commercial music library? Is for TikTok users that use TikTok for marketing, advertising, sponsorships, endorsements, or publicity, including official brand accounts, their promotional partners and creators, NGOs, and government organizations. You can also use the commercial music library for organic and paid content. This sounds like it's kaput. If it was uploaded there by Fantano, I think it's probably checkmate. Yes, sir, lawyer critical. Hey, man, it's just basic reading comprehension. If I uploaded me saying, woo, yeah, baby, to the commercial library, I can't exactly be upset if all these brands start using it. I can't then start looking for compensation. Yeah, you can. No, I can't. I literally cannot. Do you agree that your sound can be used by brands, marketing, endorsements, sponsorships, and all of that? Yes. Okay. And now I don't. I've changed my mind. You can't. Why? Because you signed. It's here. You put it here. It's literally the SpongeBob scene of, is this your wallet? Like when Man Ray's trying to return the wallet to Patrick. Was the advert also on TikTok? Apparently, yes. According to this, it was a TikTok video they made about Crash Bandicoot that used the sound. I think Danny's right. I think he'd have to prove that he wasn't the one that uploaded it to the commercial sound library. Even then, that wouldn't be on Activision. Them taking it down at his request would have been more than enough. True. That would be true. They would have no idea that it wasn't him, but instead his evil twin that uploaded it. I mean, you're not wrong. And they did take it down. They just said, oh, okay, we'll take it down. And now they have to defend themselves against a lawsuit, or they have to defend themselves against legal threats, and are now issuing a lawsuit as a counter. Are you talking about this last sentence? Activision is seeking a so-called declaratory ruling that Fantano cannot sue TikTok users over the clip. They're saying that Fantano can't go after anyone that uses the clip because they're well within their rights to, since he waived the rights by putting it on that commercial library. I'm confused. This trial about Okay, here's a little advice to all of these publications writing articles about this. Change the title. This title has confused everybody. Actually, reading through the case is very different. In a nutshell, Anthony Fantano had a very popular clip, meme clip, which was entered into the commercial music library, commercial sound library, whatever, on TikTok. It became usable, so a lot of people used it on TikTok, including Activision. And when Activision used it, Anthony Fantano threatened them, forced them to take it down, which they did, and then said, if you don't pay me a six-figure sum, allegedly, then you're going to have to defend them. You're going to have to defend yourself in court. And then apparently also said other companies have paid a sum to avoid this. So now Activision is suing, saying, no, you can't do that. You uploaded this to the commercial sound library, meaning anyone can use this, including companies. And Activision's right. It's literally in the exact terms on TikTok that the commercial music library is usable by any brand, any user, anything for any purpose. You consent to that being used anywhere when it is uploaded there. I don't know how he would win this one. But I'm no Activision fan, so if he squeaks out a dub from this, that'd be fucking crazy. That would be wild. I have no idea how he'd do it. I don't even think Saul Goodman could pull this one off, but if he somehow did, that would be unreal. That is a good point, actually. Okay, you made a good point, Otaku. Cool name as well, I guess. It'd fuck everyone else by letting him win and set a precedent that you could pull your agreement after making it. That would be actually pretty dangerous. If Fantano does win, he sets the precedent that even if you upload your sounds to the commercial sounds library, meaning you waive the right and anyone can use it for any reason without compensation, if he does win, that means anything uploaded there is fair game for a lawsuit if you use it. That's a very good point. That's very true. That would be bad.